Today we're going to chat about how to say goodbye to that thing we call procrastination. Procrastination is something we've all experienced at some point in our lives. Whether at work, in our studies, or even in our daily tasks, there's always something we put off for later. How many times have you caught yourself leaving something for tomorrow? That feeling that time is slipping away from us and that we haven't done what we should have can be very frustrating. That little voice that tells you there's still time, that you'll do it later, is the same one that takes away your peace of mind and fills you with guilt. It makes us feel like we're not doing enough and that we're always racing against the clock. But what if I told you that we can beat procrastination and find that state of flow we're looking for? Imagine being able to work on your projects with a clear mind and without stress, achieving your goals efficiently and enjoying the process. In this video, we're going to look at some practical ideas together and above all, be kind to ourselves, to stop procrastinating and start living with more enthusiasm. We'll talk about techniques you can apply in your day-to-day life, from organizing your workspace to managing your time and creating healthy habits. Get ready to discover how small things can change your day-to-day life. Sometimes, it's the small changes that have the biggest impact on our lives. So let's start this journey together and say goodbye to procrastination once and for all. Many times we get the laziness of procrastination when we have to do things that seem gigantic and impossible. We feel overwhelmed by the magnitude of the task, and instead of starting, we prefer to postpone it. We get blocked before we even start, overwhelmed by the enormity of the challenge. Anxiety and stress take over, and the task seems even more unattainable. But what if instead of looking at the whole mountain, we just look at the first step? Instead of seeing the entire project, let's focus on the first action we can take. If you divide a huge task into small, easy steps, you make it less scary and more achievable. Each small step you take brings you a little closer to your final goal. Imagine you want to write an article. The idea of writing it all at once can be intimidating. Instead of thinking about the whole article, just focus on writing the first paragraph. Once you've written that first paragraph, the next one will be easier. Or if you have to tidy up the house, start with just one room. Don't worry about the rest of the house. Just focus on that specific room. Remember, the idea is to get started. The first step is always the hardest, but once you take it, the next steps become more manageable. One small step leads to the next, and so on until the end. Each small step you take gives you the motivation and confidence to keep going. In the end, those small steps add up and lead you to complete the task that once seemed impossible. Our mind, sometimes, is like a small child who doesn't want to do what we ask. We find ourselves putting off important tasks, feeling a mix of anxiety and frustration. But just like with children, there are little tricks that work. These small tricks can transform our attitude and help us overcome procrastination. The 5-minute rule is one of them. It's a simple but powerful technique that can change your focus and productivity. Decide that you're going to work on that task you've been avoiding for only 5 minutes. No more, no less, just 5 minutes of your time. Seems easy, right? And it is. The key is to trick your mind into getting started. Once you begin, you realize it's not as hard as you thought. The funny thing is, once you start, you'll most likely want to continue. It's as if once you break the initial barrier, the rest flows more easily. Our brain doesn't like to leave things unfinished. That feeling of incompleteness drives us to keep going until we finish what we started. By starting something even for a short time, something is activated that pushes us to finish it. It's a kind of internal commitment that motivates us to continue. So the next time you feel lazy about doing something, remember, just 5 minutes. Those 5 minutes can be the start of something big. Don't underestimate the power of a small beginning. We live surrounded by distractions, notifications, social media, email. Everything wants our attention. Creating a space free of distractions is essential to overcome procrastination. It's not about becoming a hermit, but about realizing the things that steal your time and energy. Silence notifications. Put your phone in a drawer. Use website blockers if necessary. And remember, nobody's perfect. If you get distracted, don't beat yourself up. Simply return to focusing on the task. Chapter 4. Find the meaning. Why are you doing this? Sometimes we procrastinate because we don't find meaning in what we do. The tasks seem boring, repetitive, or simply unnecessary. But what if we change the focus? Instead of thinking about how hard the task is, look for its meaning, its purpose. Ask yourself, why am I doing this? What value does it have for me or for others? Even the most routine tasks can have new meaning if we connect them with our values and goals. Chapter 5. Ride the wave. The power of momentum and the flow state. Have you ever gotten so into something that time seemed to fly by? That's the flow state, a state of total concentration where the mind is only on the task and any resistance disappears. To reach this state, sometimes we just need a little initial push. Start with the part of the task that seems most appealing to you or that is easiest for you. That small spark of motivation can be enough to ignite the flame of flow. Chapter 6. Celebrate small victories. The power of positive reinforcement. In a world that tells us we have to achieve great things, it's easy to forget the value of small victories. Celebrating every step we take, no matter how small, is essential to maintain motivation and love ourselves. Did you finish a chapter of the book you're reading? Give yourself a small treat. Did you complete a work task? Take a break and enjoy your favorite drink. These small rewards are like prizes, creating a positive feeling with work and productivity. Chapter 7. The pleasure of doing. Find the joy in the process. Who said work can't be enjoyable? Many times, we associate work with effort and seriousness, forgetting that it can also give us satisfaction and joy. Allow yourself to enjoy the process, the feeling of creating something, of getting closer to your goals. Create a pleasant work environment. Put on music that inspires you. Give yourself small treats while you work. Remember, life is too short to spend it doing things we don't enjoy. Don't wait any longer, start now. The key to beating procrastination isn't finding the perfect moment, but starting to do things. Don't wait to feel completely motivated, because sometimes motivation comes after action. Remember, a small step can be the beginning of a big change. What can you do right now, even if it's only for 5 minutes, to get closer to that goal you've been putting off? I hope these ideas encourage you to stop procrastinating and start living with more enthusiasm and joy.